Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where we are currently needing to disambiguate the right click on a waypoint node so that it doesn't just automatically zoom out as well or go into a non-interaction mode, and get waypoint spawning actually working. So I think the first thing that we should go ahead and do is have this not, in fact, be in update, or... Actually, yeah, this should be an update. But let's go into our building hex and change this from on mouse over to an update. Now, that's potentially going to be somewhat problematic because we have to know which one we're actually clicking on. So let's just make a quick variable up here. And we'll call this private bool mouse is... Actually, we'll just call it is mouse over equals false to start with. And then down here, we will go ahead and implement ourselves in our on mouse enter and on mouse exit. We will go ahead and put in is mouse over equals true and is mouse over equals false. And then at the very beginning of each and every one of these update calls, we'll just run a check here. If not is mouse over, so if the mouse is not currently over the building hex, we don't care, just return. We don't need to do anything. Now the same thing is actually true for the waypoint. So we want to do a private is mouse over equals false. And then let's just go ahead and run a check here for or not is mouse over. There we go. Did I typo this? Oh, private bool is mouse over equals false. Okay, there we go. So if the mouse is not over it, we don't care. Let's just go ahead and go. And then after that, we are going to need a private void on mouse enter. And we'll just do is mouse over equals true. And then private void on mouse exit is mouse over equals false. Okay. So that should disambiguate between them. And now the question is, does that also make node waypoint spawn working? I don't know. Let's find out, shall we? Well, off we go. Come on. It's kind of a long loading time, at least when we're trying to make quick tests like this, but it's fine. So we should have successfully disambiguated here. Let's go ahead and pop on down in here, and we can go ahead and purchase this brewery. We'll go ahead and buy that. We'll demolish it just so we can actually see, and then we'll create a route from here, and then we are in edit route mode. And we want this route to go, you know, maybe here. This hex doesn't contain a waypoint. Also, waypoint to be dragged. I think... Okay, where is this hex doesn't contain a waypoint implemented at? Here. If business.ownedhexes.contains. Oh, right. We actually don't care about that. We can ditch that whole check there. And then do something more akin to that. Okay. So we're going to have to recompile that, and then we're going to have to rerun this, which is a wee bit unfortunate. But let's go ahead and go. And I am actually going to step away while this is loading for a moment, because the cat has determined that now is the time that she gets released from my room. So, I will acquiesce. I will be right back. And I am back. Just in time, too. Okay, so let's go ahead and skip this tutorial. And come on in here. Garbage collection. There we go. Come on in here. And we will go ahead and purchase ourselves... We'll buy this forest. Sure, why not? What could go wrong? No, we don't want to construct. We want to create a route. Okay, there's our origination point. Now, it should say, must have a route selected to add a waypoint. Perfect. But it left the interaction node, or the interaction mode. That's not supposed to happen when we right-click on this. Right. So we're going to actually have to fire a ray. Yeah, we're going to need to do an else statement here. And I'm going to go ahead and let that get started. And we are going to need to hop into our routes here, or rather our waypoint, and just copy this ray cast here. And then, because the thing is, I believe what's happening is... Say we are here. Is mouse over for this hex is true, but it's also true for this hex because we're over that hex. We need to disambiguate between the two of them, and the way we're going to do that is by firing this ray right here. So if physics.raycast main camera, we actually can grab the camera from this. So we'll do a private camera, main camera. And then we'll go ahead and say main camera equals cam.getComponent camera. There we go. And then we'll fire this ray, and the first thing that we hit, because of our colliders, should be either the building hex or a root collider. It should be one of those two things. So, if hit.game, or rather hit.collider.gameObject equals this.gameObject, then we're good. So actually, if it doesn't equal this, then we want to return. And this will only be called on the one that our mouse is currently over, so that should be fine. And then it goes through and does all of this if it's the correct one. Now that should disambiguate it. Okay, let's go. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll find out. Come on. One of these days. There we go. So theoretically, at this point, it should now find the first object to see if we are clicking on a root or on a hex. So we'll go ahead and purchase ourselves this warehouse. Confirm, we'll demolish it just so we can see what's going on. Go into create root mode, create that, which creates our origination point and puts us into edit root mode. Now it should tell us that there isn't a hex selected, or rather a root selected, and that is indeed what it does. Interaction mode none. So if we go back into edit root mode, must have a route selected to add a waypoint. Huh. So why is this not working then? This is on the default layer. It is untagged. It's got this box collider, which appears to be properly set up. Right? Also got this, which is a little awkward, actually. Why does it have this second box collider on it? It shouldn't have that. I think that is something that we had in the prefab as an example and just never removed. Yeah. Okay, so it should not have that. We'll go ahead and remove this. But at the same time, we should fire a ray and determine that this is what we're looking at, not this. So physics.raycast main camera.screenPoint to ray input.mousePosition out hit. If hit.collider.gameObject is not equal to this.gameObject, then we return. But we only do this if our mouse is over it. And then we go through and do all this. So clearly, when it fired the ray, it hit this. And it did not detect anything here. So my question is, why exactly? Because let's check our business here. That's the balance. The business. Selected route, none. So it clearly did not click on this route. Well, for one thing, there is a small problem here. And that is that this waypoint doesn't actually get its route set, does it? We're not running into that as a problem. That's not the problem. It's a problem. So let's go ahead and unplay this for the time being. And as soon as all that goes away, there we go. We'll go ahead and put the origination point into here as the root. So that way it can actually access the root. That'll be handy. Okay, so the question then is, why is this not working? We're doing a raycast from screen point to ray at the mouse position. And yet, when we click in here, waypoint to be dragged. Where is that implemented at? I mean, it's unimplemented, but where is that? If input.getMouseButton 0, when we're left clicking on it. Did we left click on it? I don't feel like we did. Yeah, I don't feel like we did, but let's go ahead and run this again with those minor changes that aren't going to fix anything. And let's just take a quick look at what exactly is happening here. Maybe we can suss out the problem. Then again, maybe not. But we'll get it eventually. Okay. Let's go ahead and come on in here. We are going to go ahead and purchase ourselves a duplex. Demolish the duplex. Create a route, like so. And you can see, when we mouse over this, the light goes away. So on-mouse exit is being called on this hex. But that still put us into interaction mode none. And in the business, you can see we don't have a selected route. So, in the building hex, is that where this is implemented? For the right-click? If input.get mouse button down 1 and override camera, blah 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 blah. Wait, this doesn't actually set us to interaction mode equals none. So where's our on mouse button down 1? Is that implemented in the business? It is. Oh. It should not be in the business. This should be in the building hex. And it should be down here. In an else statement. Like so. Ish. Like so-ish. So we would need if business.interaction mode is not equal to interaction mode.none, then we would set it if the get mouse button down is 1, but then I think we would want to just return. Nothing else that we're doing here is relevant at that point. So if we right-click on a hex and we're not in interaction mode none, then we do this. Otherwise, that should disambiguate and allow us to select the hex. Because I think it was calling this before it was running the other checks. And so it was saying, oh, we're in interaction mode none. So we don't need to run those checks at all. That's my theory. However, we are a little bit over time here, so I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we will see if my theory is correct. See you all then.